Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I'm your host Dave, joined as always by my wonderful co-host Sarge. How is it going, Sarge?
Woo! Feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Just blow out our listeners' eardrums immediately.
Speakers.
Just done.
I apologize to anyone who might be listening with headphones on. I'm just excited. I just cracked a Narragansett lager. I'm gonna have a beer, and we're gonna talk about some shit, whatever we're talking about today.
We are gonna be talking about some shit, some actually probably not literal shit, but like it's
not poopies, it's weird.
Yeah. But anyways, how was your holiday? Oh, I hope everyone listening had a good holiday or a lack of holiday, depending on what you believe in or what you do. It doesn't really matter. Just hope you had a good day off of work. But how about you, Sarge? How was your holiday?
It's fantastic. I got a Grim Frost hockey jersey. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of Grim Frost. The lead singer of Amon Amarth has a clothing brand, and it's just, right up the middle-aged white guy alley. If you've got northwestern European ancestry, you're going to buy whatever Grim Frost throws at you.
That could get spicy, though. That could get spicy. Just saying.
Well, okay.
Could get a little
far northern, far northwestern, not the
I got you.
Fellas that got into some hot water in the 40s.
Way to downplay. Hey, got a little bit of hot water there, just for a minute. What else did you got? You got a jersey, Hans?
This guy got Sergeant Slaughter.
Hey, was he one of the dudes
very
that got
excited.
In hot water in the 40s? Sergeant Slaughter?
No. He fought them.
Yes.
We fight them. We're not friends with them.
Yeah, the Sergeant Slaughter from 1980.
He went back in time, I think. That's how he did it.
I mean,
Did you get anything good? Did you get anything fun?
I got a bunch of ramen from my mom.
That's the way to do it.
Was it Mom? Is it Mama Fuko? David, that Chef David something or other. He has like a Asian restaurant, but he makes like packaged ramens and like spicy chili oil. So I got a bunch of those. My wife got us tickets to a show on New Year's Eve. So
shit. Nice.
New Year's Day is going to be a fucking train wreck for me.
I'd be in trouble.
But yeah, no, it was chill. I stayed at home with the wife, made a ham. Also didn't realize that like ham, you don't realize how big a ham is until you have leftover ham.
Oh yeah. And then you're just stuck with ham for days.
Yeah. So it's just the two of us. And she's like, what do you want for Christmas dinner? I was like, a ham. I was like, I'll go get a ham. I thought you could get just like a small little guy. No. So, but it was an 11-pound ham. And I was like, well, most of that's bone. It has to be.
You got a pig. You basically got half a pig.
Gravely mistaken. So now I've had ham sandwiches for lunch at work every day for the past like week and a half.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I don't hate it. It's not bad, but I don't know how long it lasts. I don't know how long I can keep eating ham before I.
You should probably throw it out.
But
I would give it like one more day and then get rid of it.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I froze some of it, so I got some frozen. So that should be good for at least a little bit.
Okay, then you're okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
I learned in economics class in college the sunk cost fallacy, where like we hang on to shit just because we paid money for it. And so when you buy a giant ham, the sunk cost fallacy really sets in. You're like, God damn it, I spent $20 on this ham and I still have 4,000 pounds of it left.
Yeah. And then try to offer it to people at work. You guys want some ham?
Yeah.
And they're just like,
you just got to get rid of it at some point. You have to recognize no matter how much money it costs you, it's not worth the hassle of keeping an entire ham in your fridge.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I was going to eat more of it. It doesn't matter. This is not.
Dude, every time I make ham, I'm always like, why did I buy such a big ham? Because my caveman brain in the store sees a giant pile of meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, well, of course, this is perfect. I'm going to buy this and I'm going to eat the whole thing like Fred Flintstone.
In like one sitting too.
Yeah. You get halfway through it after a month and you're like, okay, it's probably time to get rid of the ham.
Yeah.
It's time to go. Buy ham.
All right, Sarge. So we got an episode today. It's not ham based. I promise. I mean, it could be. Who knows? It's weird. Today
nobody knows.
We're gonna be talking about one of my favorite conspiracy theories. We've been doing a lot more conspiracy stuff, and I fucking dig it. I like,
yeah.
I think you could tell where my interests lie depending on what era of the show you're listening to. And I feel like now we're in my conspiracy theory era. And
we've hit the conspiracy era. That's fine.
I mean, I know the show's called Cryptid Cocktail Party, but I mean, it's. I wasn't gonna name it Cryptid Alien Conspiracy Folklore Cocktail Party because that doesn't roll off the tongue that well.
It's kind of hard to say like cryptid mishmash a weird shit party. You know?
So I mean, I know we've been lacking on cryptids, but today I got a good one. I promise. We're going to be talking about my favorite one that I've ever come across, and that is the hollow moon theory. Now, are you familiar with it at all? I feel like you probably would be. I feel like it's right up your alley.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My mom had a friend, and this friend lived with us at one point in the apartment.
A mom friend? Already great.
So this lady was nuttier than a fruitcake. My mom was very close with her until she moved in and became a nightmare to live with. But for the brief time period before we stopped talking to this woman, she was all about conspiracy theories. And at the time, I was just like, oh man, she's really smart and with it. And then as an adult now, I'm like, oh, she was not somebody a child should have been around. But she firmly believed in the hollow earth and hollow moon theories.
Okay.
So at least there was consistency, you know, she wasn't like, well, the earth is hollow, but the moon is solid. Let's not go crazy.
Well, I mean,
she was consistent across the board.
To be fair, flat earthers believe that the earth is flat, but every other planet in the solar system is a globe.
Not all of them. Some of them think that the celestial bodies are just projections on a dome because their brains are made of sawdust.
Okay. You might be foreshadowing a little bit of what's coming up because
oh, snap.
For those of you who don't know, the hollow moon theory, it's not just that the moon is hollow. It's kind of like flat earth in a way that like there's different types of flat earth. So like there's flat earth, there's dome earth, there's convex earth, there's fucking triangle earth, there's an earth on the back of a giant turtle. It's a whole thing.
Wait, there's a triangle earth? Yeah, I just want to know how that was like a D4?
Well, we're not.
How does that work?
Kind of, yeah, but we're not talking about that today.
Oh man, I got to look that up because I mean, it's already stupid to think the earth is flat.
Yeah.
Because of all the evidence throughout the history of mankind, but to think it's a that's a new, there's corners there. They know there's corners on a triangle.
I don't fully understand.
You know what? I'm gonna stop
because this is for a different episode.
Yeah, we need to cover all the D20 Earths.
Yeah. The other important distinction is that like, unlike hollow Earth, hollow moon is a lot different. So hollow Earth, there's like either, you know, the tunnels where fucking Godzilla comes in and out of, or, you know, there's like Lumeri, like that whole thing. Like there's secret. This is a little bit different. So the hollow
Lemurians.
Moon, the hollow moon theory suggests that the moon is not a natural satellite, but is actually a hollow artificial structure that was placed in Earth's orbit by
aliens.
No. Hey man, I didn't say you said it, but
I thought this was like an open-ended. Hey man, because I was going to go aliens, possibly the Jews, maybe Yetis.
Well, I mean, like most conspiracy theories, there's never like there's no one. There's like a ton of different explanations ranging from ancient aliens all the way to future humans. So basically, just full circle.
They came back in time just to put a giant satellite there.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. But to understand why people understand why people think that the moon is hollow, we got to start with the basics. Okay. And this episode is going to be very information heavy. So if it gets real boring, I'm apologize.
It's okay. I did some research too. Let's get into it.
All right. For one, we don't know how the moon came into existence. And I mean that in the sense that there's no general consensus among scientists on how the moon was formed. Now, there's a bunch of different like competing theories as to how, but all of them come with their own problems and reasons why.
I mean, I think we're starting to get to a prevailing theory though. Like the more generally accepted theory, I think, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I believe that
what? Let me get through mine.
All right, I'll let you get through yours. But like, the only reason I even thought of this is because I was trying to explain it to one of my children who halfway through just started playing Sonic and was not paying attention to me at all.
Yeah. Well, one hypothesis is the fission theory. Now, this theory suggests that when the Earth was still molten, it was spinning so fast that centrifugal force just separated like a huge chunk of it, like it just broke off like of the Earth, and that formed the moon. The problem with this theory is that the composition of the moon and the Earth don't match. While they do share similarities, lunar rocks lack significant quantities of different compounds that are abundant on Earth, suggesting that the moon did not form from Earth material directly. The other problem with this theory is that the moon's density is 3.34 grams per cubic centimeter, and it is much lower than the Earth's density, which is 5.52 grams per cubic centimeter. If the moon was a chunk of the Earth, the density should be similar, if not like almost exactly the same, and they aren't. So suck it, nerds.
Why aren't you using, just out of curiosity, why aren't you using freedom units?
Because I don't think it matters, and I don't know what any of this means anyways. I couldn't tell you what a fucking gram per whatever is.
Yeah, grams, I think that should only be used to measure drugs. And crackers.
You're not wrong, but I mean, so did you say and crackers?
Yeah. Yeah, a graham cracker. It's 1 gram of crackers.
I hate it so much.
Wouldn't it be wild if that was actually accurate?
We're moving on. So again, information heavy. The second theory is the capture theory. Now, this theory suggests that the moon formed somewhere else, outside of the solar system, and it was traveling through, and it just happened to get captured up in Earth's gravitational pull. The problem with this one is that the moon's it has an almost perfectly circular orbit. It's like almost too precise to be the result of some chaotic capture event. And moons that are captured by bigger planets usually have like a more like elliptical orbit. Like it's never going to be that perfect of a circle. There's also the fact that for the moon to be captured without just fucking like slamming directly into Earth or just like whizzing right past us, there would have had to have been like a third object for the moon to either like bump into, or their gravitational pull helps slow it down enough to the point where
three-body problem. It's not what that is, but that's the first thing that came to my head.
I mean, it's kind of true. Like it needed another, like a third thing to just slow it down enough so that it could be captured. And as of right now, there's no evidence of a third planetary body or something for that to have happened. The third theory is the co-formation theory, and it's pretty much exactly what the name suggests. It's basically like the moon and the Earth were formed like together at the same time from the same like stardust, like primordial material, like in the early forms of the solar system. It's like that's how like Jupiter and Saturn got their moons. They all like formed together. The problem with this theory is pretty much the same as like the first one, where if it was made of the same material, the density of both bodies would be the same, and the moon wouldn't be lacking the same like volatile elements that are on Earth. And instead we've got the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito twins situation. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the fourth and most widely accepted theory is the giant impact theory, where
you go. Yes.
See, Sarge, you always get ahead of yourself.
Fucking love this theory.
You know that I'm always going to get to where you need to go, baby.
I should just shut up 90% of the time. You're right. I should just shut my fucking mouth.
No, don't do that. The show would be boring as shit.
I'll just be in the background. Yeah, no, I agree.
Me Good ranting call. For a half hour to.
Meanwhile, I'm in the background, just like nodding my head or shaking my head.
No verbal response. All right, so this theory, the giant impact theory, is where a Mars-sized planet, I think it was called Theia. I didn't write it down because I didn't care enough. But anyways, this
not necessary.
This Mars-sized planet collided with Earth. Then the debris from this impact, it like coalesced to form the moon. Now, while this theory can help explain the moon's lack of volatile elements, because like a high energy impact like this, they'd all just be fucking evaporated, it doesn't explain why the isotopic composition of Earth and the moon are so similar. Basically what that means in a nutshell is that the Earth and moon rocks are nearly identical. If the moon were formed from a mix of the Earth and this Mars-sized objects material, the signatures would be wildly different, but they aren't. So, again, fucking suck it, nerds.
I also like that you didn't even hesitate to explain that isotopic thing. Like because I immediately glassed over and I'm like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't ask me if I know what this is.
No,
I don't. I 100% don't.
Hey, I got you, baby. Don't worry. You know, Sarge, I always have you. I know. I'm here to guide you, hold your hand. We're going to do this. You just
pick me up in your burly arms and you carry me like a baby through every episode.
Goddamn.
Almost got you to spit out beer. Almost.
Almost. One of these days, you're going to get a real spit take from me because usually I just choke it down and almost died. One of these days, my camera, my fucking computer, it's all going to be ruined. You're going to drown
in your own beer.
All right. So even so, like I said, we can't agree on how the moon was formed. There is one thing that we can all agree on, and that is that the moon is perfect. Almost too perfect, like suspiciously perfect. Like, for one, it orbits the Earth in almost a perfect circle, which isn't something we have seen with any other like planetary satellite in our solar system or any others that we've discovered outside of our own solar system. And the moon's position is also perfect. The distance between the Earth and the moon is about 384,400 kilometers, or roughly 1/400th the distance of the sun. Coincidentally, the moon is also 1/400th the size of the sun, which not only makes the moon appear to be the same size as the sun in the night sky, it also allows for total solar eclipses, aligning perfectly between the Earth and the sun. And it is the only moon in our solar system that does this. I mean, could this all be a coincidence? And we should just accept the universe as chaos and there are things going on that we just won't understand? No, Sarge, that's not what this fucking show's about.
No,
okay?
No. You only accept coincidences if you're a fucking nerd.
That's what I'm saying.
Get out of here. Miss me with that shit.
Now, the moon is such an enigma that even scientists have come out and been like, yeah, this shit, like, it shouldn't be here at all. Like, this should not exist. Like, one scientist from NASA, Dr. Robin Brett, was quoted as saying, quote, "It seems much easier to explain the non-existence of the moon than its existence." And another, Erwin Shapiro from the Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, was quoted as saying, "The best possible explanation for the moon is observational error."
See, this is why I love science, because scientists are not afraid at any point to just be like, I don't know. It's fucking weird, isn't it? It's crazy. I don't know what it does. I don't even know why it's there.
Yeah, it's nuts. Bananas. They went on to say that all existing explanations for its presence are fraught with difficulties, which, like, we just went over all of them. And like, so if the moon can't exist scientifically, then the only other option is that it was constructed and put there. And now you're probably asking, what evidence for this could there be? Well, during the Apollo missions, NASA conducted seismic experiments by crashing lunar modules into the moon's surface. The Apollo 12 mission deliberately crashed a module into the moon, and the seismic sensors detected vibrations that lasted over an hour. It was described as though the moon was ringing like a bell. They repeated these tests during the Apollo 13 and 14 missions, only now they're dropping larger and heavier shit down onto the, basically just littering the moon.
It's just a YouTube channel of guys dropping shit to see what breaks.
I was just going to say, it's like when a bunch of dudes get together on a bridge and throw rocks onto an icy river. And it makes sense.
Yes.
100% that. But this time, when the impacts occurred, the moon would reverberate for hours. Now, scientists suggest that the moon's crust might just be super dry and rigid, allowing reverberations to travel further and longer than they would on Earth. And they may be right about the moon's crust being rigid, but not because it's made of a dry and rocky crust, but because it's the metal exterior of a space station that's inside the moon.
Yes.
Duh.
Fuck yeah. Oh, I'm getting hard just thinking about it.
So the lunar surface is weird. For one, there's an overabundance of rare metals. Lunar rocks that were brought back from the Apollo missions contain a high concentration of metals such as titanium and uranium. Now, these are two materials that are highly valued for advanced engineering here on Earth and aren't typically found in such high qualities, like are quantities in natural occurring formations like there on the moon. Like take titanium. It's used all the time in aerospace technology. Like we build like planes and fucking spaceships and bikes, hips, all of those
submarines.
Things. Yeah, they're all made of titanium. It's used all the time. It's strong, but it's lightweight. So maybe whoever built the moon incorporated it into the moon's surface for durability and function. There's also strange geological features like lunar Maria, the darker plains on the moon's surface that you see, and the highlands are compositionally distinct from one another. They're completely different. This could be a sign of deliberate construction or layering, with the highlands acting as a stronger protective armor. There's also the fact that the rocks and dust on the surface of the moon are older than the rocks and dirt below the surface, which is the exact opposite as it is on Earth. Usually you'll see, you know, the younger on top, older in the bottom.
Yeah.
Now this could be a sign of construction happening inside the moon. I mean, if you're going to hollow out a planet, that shit's got to go somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It makes sense.
Yeah. So you just put it right on the surface of the moon. And then there's also the last thing about the surface that I want to touch on before I throw it to you is the craters. They are unusually uniform. By that I mean, like, no matter like the diameter of the crater, they all seem to be the same shallow depth. Even impact craters inside of impact craters, they don't go further down than like the impact crater. Like on Earth, the larger the asteroid, it's going to create a wider and deeper crater, and it's not like that on the moon. It's as if something like maybe the super durable hull of a space station is preventing them from going deeper, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, honestly, I wasn't expecting you to go this route because a lot of people who deny reality, the people who are like the young Earth creationists, they're like, well, you know, God put the moon there to block asteroids or something, or and they're like, well, why are the asteroids on one side of the moon perfectly round while on another side they're oblong shaped? And that was explained much more eloquently than I could ever possibly hope to. But what I can say is I didn't think about that. Like, why isn't it going deeper into the moon? The only thing that I can think of is, you know, like on Earth, we're kind of like a conglomeration of bullshit all around our crust. You know, you've got like, you know, limestone, excuse me, and like igneous rock in some places, and so maybe it's just kind of softer in some areas than it is in others. But honestly, like, I have no fucking scientific idea as to why. I'm just like, well, the Earth is weird, so I don't really know why that would be the case. It's a really interesting point, actually. The only thing I can think of is that the moon is solid, as science has recently kind of. This is science. This is NASA. The shills.
God damn
the fucking liars.
The globalist agenda. This is such bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. These woke scientists with their woke hard balls surrounding us.
But also, this would mean that even if what you're saying is true, that on Earth, you know, if it hits a certain spot, no matter what the size of the asteroid, it's going to go deeper or smaller depending on what material it hits. Yeah. Again, if the Earth or if the moon was made of or formed around or by the same material as Earth, it should have that same characteristic, like hollow or solid. So if it's made of the same stuff, if it hits no matter where, it's going to have different depths of meteor impacts, but it doesn't. It's all uniform. No matter the size of the crater, it's all the same depth. If it was made out of the same material as the Earth, you would see those discrepancies. You would see, like, the larger the impact, the deeper the crater.
Well, maybe not, because if the moon is solid, then it doesn't have a magma. And so it's just hitting a solid object all the way through versus hitting the Earth, which is, you know, much like me, squishy in the middle.
I don't think. Okay, but anyway. It's just got that soft nougaty center, just like my boy Sarge here.
Yeah.
But these aren't just the weirdest things on the lunar surface. There's been reports of structures, large towers, very geometrical shit, pyramids, shit like that. It's also been lights and a weird mist. And Sarge, I believe.
Yes.
Baby. You did some research, at least on the mist. I don't know if you did any on the lights.
I did on the lights and the mist.
Yeah. So why don't we start with the lights, and then we'll go to the mist. The mist is.
I'm going to put my NASA shill hat on for a moment.
Oh God.
So, lights on the moon have been witnessed occasionally. The European Space Agency.
Occasionally, it's been like
I'll get to that.
It's been like 562 times over the course of like 40 years.
All right, take a deep breath.
Sarge, I panicked because last time I asked you to do research, you just looked into Congress.
That was one time. Furiously Googling as you're asking me to look it up. No, okay, so
you got this. I have all the faith in the world in you, buddy.
Good, because I actually did write some stuff. So lights in the moon have been witnessed occasionally. The European Space Agency reports that claims of lights in the moon actually go back about 1,000 years.
We're going to talk about the fucking Europeans, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, they do have space too. They just measure it weird. However, the earliest official documented sighting only dates back to 1787. But these sightings have only gotten more frequent with the improvement of technological advancements available to professional and amateur astronomers alike. The official explanation attributes this to something called transient lunar phenomenon, which is a fancy way of saying shit keeps bumping into the moon. So given that the moon has no atmosphere, these small bits of space debris are making direct contact with the lunar surface rather than burning up as they hit our atmosphere.
Yeah.
So that's why we're seeing these tiny little things smash into the moon so much.
So that's little flashes of lidar?
Yeah. Yeah. They're think of it like, when you take two stones and you smack them together, sometimes you'll get a spark. So while this is not a terribly satisfying answer.
Name of my sex tape.
Because I'm so proud of you.
I had to pull a Sarge right there. I had to do it.
All right. So basically, all of the scientists around the world are essentially just calling this swamp gas, but this time on the moon. It is kind of the most reasonable theory, unless you buy all your vitamins from Alex Jones. According to CNET.com in 2019, a new lunar telescope north of Seville, Spain, will be watching the moon every night to document and investigate this phenomenon.
Okay.
All findings will be given to the European Space Agency, which has been gathering data from another telescope in Greece since 2017. So far, there's been an average of one light witnessed per about every 2 hours of footage.
Okay.
So I actually have a lot of respect for the European Space Agency because they're not fucking NASA shills, but also because they're willing to say we really have no idea, but we're assuming it's probably just a bunch of debris smacking into the moon, which actually makes a lot of sense because part of the theory that life on this planet has survived for as long as it has is because we have the moon there as sort of like a rotating shield to knock crap out of the way for us.
Yeah.
So the mist is fascinating to me too, because I had never heard about this until you had mentioned it. So on March 7th, 1971, water vapor was detected on the moon. This vapor was picked up by two different instruments called suprathermal ion detectors. They were left by lunar missions. They were left by all the lunar missions that had landed on the moon. But this was picked up in particular by Apollo 12 and 14. And the vapor seemed to last roughly 14 hours before dissipating.
But to talk about how wide it was. It was big.
It was huge. It was huge. It was like what did they say?
100 square
kilometers.
Miles.
Oh, 100 square miles. Good. We use freedom units. So two scientists from Rice University, Doctors Freeman and Hill, suggested the water came as a result of a geyser on the moon, which followed a moon quake. At the time, there was a reasonable amount of skepticism surrounding this phenomenon, and many in the scientific community weren't even sure that there was water on the moon. So this is kind of where their surprise came from.
Yeah.
Skepticism only grew as time wore on, partially due to the fact the instruments used to detect the gas related to the anomalies stopped functioning like almost all the way through the 70s. So without any such events to compare it to, some folks would be easily led to the conclusion that NASA was covering something up. However,
Oh
there
God,
are some
there's a
reasons
however.
why this phenomenon might have happened.
See, I don't.
So
I'm sorry. No,
go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. No, you had already asked one of the questions, so I'd actually written the answers based on the questions you asked me.
Mine was I don't buy it. I don't buy it. There's no atmosphere, so wouldn't the vapor wouldn't hover for 14 hours. It would immediately go straight into the fucking sky. If that
is a great point, but think about it this way.
No.
The moon while it's true the moon has no atmosphere, it does have gravity.
It does have gravity.
The force of the moon's gravity is roughly 83% less than that of Earth. So to put that in perspective, I weigh 250 pounds on Earth, or I don't know how many stones it is. I'm not British. On the moon, I would only weigh 41 pounds. Okay. So while that force is not strong, it's still strong enough to maintain a slight hold on anything that is on the moon, which would include water droplets.
Okay.
So assuming the sun was blocked by the Earth or the moon itself, the water vapor could have stuck around for some time until the sun evaporated it. Seismic activity on the moon.
So there's no core.
Okay, so that's another fantastic question, and I'm glad you asked it because I was actually also very confused.
Yelled it at you. I didn't really ask.
I was so fascinated by the concept of that because I was like, why is there seismic activity? Because my simple primate brain could not figure it out. Thankfully, there are scientists in the world that have degrees and are smart people. And the moon, so while believed to be solid, therefore no plate tectonics. However, the seismic activity is still possible due to the moon's relationship to the Earth. It's a rocky relationship.
So what are we like? Does the moon's gravitational pull like?
So it's called tidal force. That's exactly it. It's called tidal force.
Okay.
So it's not unique to our moon. Jupiter's moon Io, for instance, is a rocky moon, but the fluctuation in gravitational pull on the near side of the moon, where the force is stronger. It causes it to expand. And actually, interestingly enough, Jupiter's effect on Io is so strong that it creates heat, which forces Io's rocks to melt into magma.
Yeah, because it's so strong that it's almost pulling it apart and then reforming when it gets further away.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
And so this to some small degree is happening on the moon. And it's also one more interesting point. So I also looked up the moon's orbit. And yes, you're 100% right. The moon's orbit is almost perfectly circular. However, it is still technically an elliptical orbit.
Wow,
if you were to take a pencil and draw look, man, I had like 3 hours.
No, but I do have a question.
I'm just messing with you.
Is the
hold on, hear me out. Let me finish this part, and then you can ask your question.
Okay, sorry.
So if you were to draw the moon's orbit on a piece of paper with a pencil, the variation in the orbit would only be about a width of the line that pencil puts on the paper. So it's not by any means a significant variation, but it's enough of a variation to make a difference.
But is that like gravitational pull enough to cause like the water vapors to melt to cause a geyser? Is that so? I mean, like so that's what it is. It's the expanding and the pulling that cause it to evaporate the water.
Yeah, it's so essentially, it just heats it up enough to turn it into gas, and then that gas. I actually have a theory, but we'll get to it. So why hasn't this phenomenon been recorded more than once was another question that I thought about. So I did a little bit more digging on the equipment that we had on the moon.
Yeah,
and as most people know, we kind of avoided the moon after a while because we were like, well, it's just there. We don't really care about it. Also, nobody wanted to pay for it. So the instruments used to gather this information were really only active for about 5 years.
Okay.
So while seismic activity is common on the moon, all of the landing sites were on the near side of the moon, so the side facing Earth. And that side of the moon reflects the sun's rays back on Earth. Essentially, there are only a few days every month where the Earth is significantly blocking the sun on the surface of the moon. So it stands to reason that if these instruments remained active, we would probably have a few more instances, because my theory on what happened is weak seismic activity due to tidal forces caused the water to heat up from ice to gas. The gas escaped, but with significantly less force than like a geyser on Earth, for instance, where we have an atmosphere and everything else. The gas then settled, trapped by the moon's gravity, until eventually it was vaporized by the sun. So had it been let's say this thing happened on one of the darker areas of the moon and the gas sort of traveled across, we're not going to pick it up. This could be happening on the other side of the moon all the time, but we won't pick it up because we don't have any instruments.
Let's go back to my original question, which was, what if it was just off gas from a nuclear reactor?
There is not a unit of measure on Earth right now that could put into perspective how much I want that to be true.
Well, here's the thing.
Like, I really, really want it to be true.
So we talked about the moon surface being the outer crust, maybe, of a space station. So how did spaceship moon theory come into existence? Well, in the 1970s, two Soviet scientists, Mikhail Vasin and Alexander Sharbakov.
Close enough. I would have said it wrong too.
They had a theory. All right. Now, according to them, the moon is a colossal spacecraft constructed by an advanced alien race. Like we've been discussing, they put forth the moon's outer shell as a protective layer, while the inside houses machinery, habitats, and possibly inhabitants. But the theory goes even deeper than that. It's not just any spaceship, it's a generational spaceship. Does that make sense? It's a
yeah. They're making, them aliens be fucking, and making baby aliens
pretty much
in the moon.
It's like
a colony almost.
Yeah, it's a self-sustaining craft designed for long-term space travel, designed by an ancient civilization that was possibly facing extinction. They hollowed out like a planet-sized object and turned it into a space station, pretty much, and it's like WALL-E.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're able to survive on it for a long period of time, and then they travel through the cosmos and eventually decide that Earth looks like a good driveway for them to just park in.
So they just threw a bunch of beefy boys and hover rounds in the moon.
Pretty much.
Are we not like going full WALL-E? We're just going like partial WALL-E.
We'll go partial WALL-E, but
okay. So they're probably exercising a little bit.
Yeah, but what if it wasn't ancient aliens? What if it was us? What if humanity, far in the future, faced a cataclysmic event that required the moon's existence for survival? So, using advanced technology, they traveled back in time to construct and position the moon just in the right spot to stabilize Earth's rotation and climate, ensuring the conditions necessary for Earth's survival.
Whoa,
could be.
That is some Joe Rogan level nonsense right there, and I love it. I dig it.
Could be.
I'm in.
I mean,
here's my only bugaboo.
All right, what you got?
If we were advanced enough to travel back in time and construct this giant spacecraft, right? Wouldn't we be advanced enough to avert our extinction entirely and not require a giant spacecraft that can travel back in time?
But what if this is the first go around? Like, they didn't know this was going to happen. So in the future, this is the first of its kind, and then they were able to.
Oh, it's like a prototype.
Yeah. Well, it's not a prototype. But like, you do it once, you don't need to do it again. What if there was originally a moon, and then the moon got fucked up?
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Like,
okay,
so they had to put this moon here, and then.
It's not standing up under scrutiny.
It's not.
You're trying to explain the rantings of a lunatic.
Yeah.
In reasonable ways. And I appreciate it. You were doing really well. I was following you all the way until I saw the light. I'm trying
to not be skeptical here. I'm trying to be in it. Present.
No one wants this to be truer than I do. Like, I want to go to fucking space.
Yeah. I mean, it
bothers me that only knobs like fucking
Jeff Bezos,
Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos get to play around up there. I'm like, dude, I've been fucking pretending G.I. Joe guys were in space for like fucking 20 years, you sons of bitches. I still do it. Piss me off. Fucking nerds.
I'm sorry, Sarge.
That's okay. All right. It's all right. I should have invested all my money into inventing things that already existed, like Elon Musk.
Yeah, but there's so back on track. I'm sorry for your
back on track. Sorry about that rant. I just
sorry
had a moment.
Sorry,
I had a moment. I'm okay now.
Your trauma.
We're back into it.
But so the ancient aliens bringing the moon here, and also the human travel back in time. There might be some weight to that theory. And I say that with the heaviest of quotations.
I some gravitational quotations.
Yeah. So there are many cultures, like ancient cultures, that have myths and stories about a time when there was no moon in the sky. Like it just kind of like showed up one day. Ancient Greek philosophers like Aristotle have referenced a quote unquote pre-lunar time. Indigenous tribes in South America, the Zulu people of Africa, and the Chibcha people of Colombia, and many others all.
Wow, that last one sounds made up.
It's not. Way to be insensitive.
No, it just sounded like you were like, I can't remember. I'm just going to say this.
No, that's what
I'm just going to make a noise with my mouth.
That's what it is.
No, I believe you. I believe you.
But they all have legends of there being no moon in the sky, and then like bam, there's a moon. Like I mean, it could be possible that the moon was built and then deliberately placed there either by ancient aliens, modern aliens, or future who knows? Humans maybe.
Yeah. I know one thing's for sure. We're not going to get to the bottom of it today.
Well, we might.
Okay.
Because sorry, this episode's been it's been fun and games. You know, all right, up until this point, but now it's time to get serious. And we're going to talk about
we're going to talk about space lasers?
We're going to talk about what the moon really is.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
It's not a celestial.
Nope. Thought we were going to talk about space lasers. I'm really disappointed.
It's not a celestial body. It's not a spaceship or a space station. It's not even there at all, because the moon is in fact a hologram.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. You're right.
It's a projection designed to hide what's really going on up there. And what's actually going on up there, you might be wondering? I don't know. Could be an alien base, some sort of hidden operation controlled by powerful governments that are using it to control the narrative about space and hide secret technology. It's really whatever you want it to be. Okay.
I like that you called them gumments.
I had a mini stroke. Now,
goddamn gummint.
This idea of the moon being a hologram gained traction pretty recently, thanks to quote unquote amateur astronomers like YouTuber Crow777, a prominent voice
clearly a very serious man,
a prominent voice in the hologram moon community, who have claimed to have captured quote unquote lunar waves on video. So what is a lunar wave? Well, it's basically like a ripple like distortion that looks like it's moving across the moon's surface from the bottom to the top. It's like when a VHS, when the tracking is off, you get that one wave that goes up. It's pretty much that.
Or like a weird anomaly with perhaps a digital recording device.
No.
Okay.
No. Proponents of the theory argue that the waves are glitches in the hologram. I mean, that's all the proof I need. Do you want to see the video?
Yeah, please. And I just want to preface this by saying that there are literally millions of people every day who look up at the moon. And so the fact that you can only see this with a digital camera, it tracks.
Hey, yo, tracking's off, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
Swamp gas, obviously.
So this is Crow777's YouTube page. And this is the analysis of the moon hologram UFO. I don't know what that means.
It means nothing because it's insane.
Thank you to the Jungle Surfer for the narration request and getting this out to his viewers. My hope is that a lot of people get to see this. It's the real deal. Give me a second. Let me get the clip started here.
Sounds like me. Talking to you. So
we're not that different, are we?
Yeah. So for those listening, the screen says, having spent over a year viewing the moon on a regular basis, I've come to the conclusion that the moon may not be what we think it is. There are other YouTube users who have also made some interesting lunar observation. Jive Bop and Grid Keeper as examples. This clip is a mind bender, and I'm seeking anybody else who shot this or similar footage to contact me and compare footage and dates. So let's just scrub right to the.
I'm so excited.
Night looking for objects. I pan my camera down and the wave starts, this hologram wave. I don't notice it.
Do you see it?
Then it catches up to the camera, and I do notice it.
It's so clearly his fucking camera.
You don't know whether it's your eyes or what. And then I notice a second moron. And at this point,
imagine being so fucking stupid that you're filming the moon on a digital camera and cannot, for the life of you, fathom why there would be an art like. It's got to be a hologram wave, or I don't know, maybe the piece of technology shooting the phenomenon that you've never seen with your naked eyes, even though you definitely would be able to.
I just love that he keeps replaying the video in different, like he
in different
the colors, and then he changed.
What a moron!
But I mean, it's kind of cool looking, right? Like it looks like a VHS.
It's very cool. It's super cool. It looks like a wave.
Yeah. I mean,
but it's because of your digital camera, you fucking nutsack. Oh my God. Out of 20 something million sperm, this guy was the fastest.
I will say this though. I don't know what digital camera he's using, but goddamn, that's a very high def digital camera.
He
got real far because this is from September 2012, dude. Like that's
okay.
bananas.
That's really impressive. Cause I was going to say, like, I've taken actually with my Samsung phone, some pretty amazing photographs of the moon.
Yeah.
And so I've got a pretty good view in my backyard. So I go out and take pictures of the moon every once in a while. Like if I'm letting the dog out, I'm just standing out there waiting for her to come back in.
Yeah.
I'll just like zoom in because my camera has 100 times zoom, and I'll just zoom in on the moon and just take a quick picture.
Aren't you fancy?
And then if you just mess around with some of the, I don't use filters, but I use like the different editing software tools within the camera app. And you can highlight it, make it look a little bit brighter. I'll send you a couple of pictures that I took, but yeah, bro, that's just a fucking camera artifact, you fucking moron. I mean, and you should be embarrassed that you thought that was a thing.
I mean, it's all the proof I needed. So
yeah, right.
I'm good. I'm good with it. Thank you, Crow and Skip Bop and Grease Train, whatever the fucking the other guy's name was.
In Spock Lover 69, you guys all really nailed it. You got to the bottom of it.
Also,
I want to ask just one question.
If you're going to be a YouTuber trying to push these types of theories and ideas, maybe come up with a more credible sounding name than Crow with 2 R's 777. Yeah.
Like Jive Bop probably doesn't strike a lot of confidence in most people.
What was your question?
So if the moon and all other celestial bodies are a hologram.
Well, no, just the moon.
Okay. So, why?
To hide the alien spaceship and or the governments of the world, powerful governments of the world are hiding behind them.
So how long have they been doing that? Because I remember like maybe 200 years ago, we thought that the cold was just ghosts in people's blood. So
it doesn't matter, Sarge. Okay.
When did we invent hologram technology? Is I guess what I'd want to know.
I mean, you ever seen the Truman Show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, there you go.
Mind blown, okay, right? So we're all in a simulation.
Yeah. Duh. Okay. Have you not been paying attention this whole time? What the fuck, Sarge?
Well,
come on.
Thank you, Crow and Jive Bop, for your deep and thorough investigation into this matter. I really appreciate it.
Exactly. All right. So yeah, but that's it. That's hollow moon, spaceship moon, holograph moon theory.
Yeah.
How you feeling about it?
I feel like the people who believe this probably have a higher than usual lead content in their water. They might live under power lines as well.
Okay, so you're not vibing with it, is what you're saying?
No, I think most of their family trees are probably just a full circle.
Okay, so it's a wreath, family wreath.
Yeah, this is a product of profound inbreeding over generations.
Okay, all right. I mean, that's your opinion. I kind of fuck with it. I like the idea that the moon might be.
I want it to be true. I do, but I need more evidence than a broken digital camera.
Well, that's just a hologram. I'm talking about the whole thing in general.
Everything. I thought, okay, the whole thing. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about.
I'm talking about everything. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, hologram.
I mean, I would fucking love that. And honestly, like if you just suspend a little bit of disbelief, reasonable disbelief, you know, like it's kind of fun. It's like a fun idea. How cool would that be?
It's not bad. It's pretty good.
It's not bad at all.
I do
It's
enjoy
not bad at all. Yeah, I like the idea of the hollow moon or that it's a spaceship. Holograph moon is just the rantings of people with brain damage.
Yeah, I mean, the hollow moon.
You can like literally send a balloon through our atmosphere.
The hollow moon and the space station moon. Like, I fuck with that. Holograph moon's a little too much. Where's it projecting from? You think it would see it? You think that a heavy cloud cover.
But also, like,
fuck it
why
up.
would they do that? Why would they do it? What's the value there? What's the point?
To hide the spaceship.
But like, there was clearly a time where there wasn't a moon and everybody was fine. Yeah. So just one day you turned on the moon and you were like, boop, there it is. Here you go. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Like,
or maybe they all coalesce. So maybe like all right. Hear me out. Maybe we're living in two different timelines. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So hear me out.
See, this is the shit that I could get into. So, different timelines, different dimensions.
Here, we're living in two. All right. So simultaneously, the moon doesn't exist. There was a cataclysmic event, and we have to project the moon into the sky to make people still feel like there is a moon, while we in the current time are building the new moon to replace that moon. But we have to go back in time from when the shit happened. So the moon's there, and then it comes, and then it blows up or whatever, and then we project the hologram moon until we can rebuild the moon again. Does any of that make sense? I don't know, dude.
No, only because we can like accurately predict solar eclipses and the tides.
Yeah, but we can do that from the hologram.
How?
Jewish space lasers.
There you go.
We brought it back for
you. You're cooking with gas. Now you're cooking with gas. Back on board, baby. Oh, fuck yeah.
All right. But yeah, that's it. That's the story. That's one of my favorite theories. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
It's way more fun.
Such an interesting idea.
Yeah, it's way more fun than Hollow Earth. It's way more fun than fucking Flat Earth. It's just more fun all around. It's goofy as all hell. It's fun.
Yeah, it's goofy, but it's fun. There was like a whole movie series about it.
Yeah, there was. Well, I don't know the series, but there's a.
What was it called? Iron Skies or something like that.
There was that new movie that came out. Yeah, it had a fucking Samuel Tarly from Game of Thrones in it. Yeah. I haven't seen it. It looks terrible.
But that's why I want to watch it. It's like it hits every point.
Yeah, it's a great.
It's all the points.
You know what's weird is halfway through recording this episode, I had a panic attack thinking that I had already covered this.
Well, when you cover enough crazy shit, you start to worry that you've covered all of it.
I was like, oh fuck, did we do this? And then I realized no, it's just me just remembering that I knew a lot of this stuff before researching it. So that was a fun little existential crisis I had in the middle of the episode.
We'll just start redoing episodes.
So here's the thing. So for those of you listening, we're coming up on 2 years, and actually the 2-year anniversary of this show will be our 100th episode. So my thing was, when I first started this show, I had my buddy Colby on, and I gave him 2 options to choose from. And they were the first 2 episodes we ever did together. And I kind of want to do it because I still have those scripts, and I kind of want to redo both those episodes. Not because they were bad. They're arguably 2 of our better episodes, but just to see the 2 different reactions from the 2 different people that have been on the show the most. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that'd be really fun.
Maybe bonus episodes.
Well, I mean, we got to pull this 100th episode. We got to do at least one of them proper.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Just go all the way through. I'm in.
I think it'd be fun because they're two of the most iconic. We'll just call it Cryptid, whatever the name, and then redo REDUX like Hot Shots. It'll be
with 2 extra R's in it to add to the legitimacy.
Yeah, it'll be great. All right, Sarge, you got anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I'm on the internet. follow me on different social media platforms, except for X, which is actually just Twitter, but worse, because I don't ever really go on there anymore. Buy my coloring book at sargessupernormal.com. It will take you to an Amazon page. The coloring book is $9.99. But there's a lot of stuff to do in there. There's coloring and there's activities, and it's a great way to, take out your fear and frustration on the incoming shitstorm that America's about to face. Or you can roll it up and burn it to cook food, because eventually fuel will become increasingly expensive because of our horrible corporate overlords.
Yeah. And then we'll have to mine the moon, and then the moon will become unstable. It'll collapse in on itself. And then future humans will have to rebuild the moon, and then so
send it back in time.
Yeah. So I think we're on to something here. Yeah.
sargessupernormal.com. Do it. Buy the coloring book. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
But that's all I got. Yeah.
So buy his coloring book. Follow us on Instagram at Cryptid Cocktail. Follow us on TikTok, Cryptid Cocktail Party, for however long that's gonna last. Because
we're on Blue Sky.
We're on Blue Sky. I got to give Sarge the handle to that, because I don't post. I'm bad at text posts. I'm not a text post guy.
I'm Sarge the Destroyer on Blue Sky. Find me, and then you'll see me posting Cryptid Cocktail Party stuff as well.
Yeah, and then leave us a rating and review, please. That'd be awesome. It definitely helps out the show. I think that's it. I don't got anything else to plug. I guess good. With that out of the way, Sarge, do you want to say goodbye and I love you to the audience?
Goodbye and I love you.